I'm like the river one,
Feels right.
but but it would be really cool to have a place in each, because it's like the feel and the energy is so different.
When we were driving in, like the vegetation changed. There was all these pine trees. It almost looked like, I'd never been to Switzerland, but I imagined like Switzerland in the spring.
Or drive, you come, you're kind of like desert, and then you like go around that corner and like come up, and it's lush,
Starts getting green,
like
right? Yeah.
rainforest. As slow as people move in this country in general, that's like third speed. That's like a third of the normal speed
Right
here. People walk by like,
oh yeah, I was gonna say that is slow. That's the slowest place I've seen.
People prioritize the connection. They prioritize the time spent with with humans, with friends, with family. They prioritize like relationships. A lot of the way the culture is here, they have a lot of like secrets.
If you do take the time to be here and put some time into those relationships, man, that's been some of the most rewarding experiences my family's had being here.
You're able to do this because the culture is so open and welcoming and non-judgmental. Like the biggest advice I have in the world for anyone that's going to come here is just... Hello and welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast. Jesse, Brandon.
What's up, Jesse?
Hey, baby, we're here. It's a pleasure to be with you, fine gentlemen. It might get a little bit dark, and I heard you're belly dancing tonight later.
I am.
You are?
Yeah, you gonna come?
I wouldn't miss it.
No, thank you. Let me cover it up so nobody gets a sneak peek.
So what are we talking about today, anyway?
Well, I mean, let's see.
Ralph opened back up.
He did.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Max was in there today. That was good. It's a good spot, man.
The Eden Cafe. Bistro and Cafe? Cafe? What's the name of it?
Eden Cafe. I think it's just
Eden
Cafe.
Cafe.
It might be Bistro and Cafe. You're right. Maybe it is. I don't know.
It's like rings a bell somewhere, but I'm not sure. It might just maybe getting that mixed up with Soul Bistro.
Oh, perhaps.
But Eden Cafe, which was it was probably open for a couple of years.
Yeah. It was here when I first got here.
Oh, it was?
A little over 3 years ago, yeah.
So probably 2+ years then. It was open, maybe even 3. I have been known to lose track of time from time to time.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was sort of a Vilcabamba staple. It was a place where you and I ate a lot. What was so cool about it, it's a family from Germany, live in Yangana, which is 30 minutes south of here, a little bit cooler area, known for their exceptional grass that makes excellent milk, which makes phenomenal cheese.
Oh, yes, that grass.
That grass. No, they're not growing a lot of weed in Yangana, to my knowledge. But known for anyways, Ralph and his family lived there, German family, and they opened this farm to table restaurant. They do a lot of organic veggies on their farm. They do a whole like cow operation, milk and cheese.
Their yogurts are phenomenal. They have fruit yogurts, papaya. They have strawberry. They have the mango yogurt's probably my favorite. They're all really good. They do great coffee as well, like really good. The Italian espresso style.
Are they? Do you know? Do they grow their own coffee? Do you know?
It's a good question. I think they do, because if they don't, then they're very specific on how they source. Because it was one of the most, if not the most consistent coffee I've tried around here.
Yeah, so I haven't even been to their property. It's like a big finca out there. So they have a farm to table restaurant. They do all the aged cheeses as well. So it's like a really, and they're German, so it's sort of German food. They do,
Wiener Schnitzel.
right.
Right.
So it's it's like a healthy, kind of option. It's good food at decent prices. Ralph had a medical situation, so he was laid up for a while. They closed the restaurant probably for a year. It was closed.
Yeah, at least a year.
At least a year.
If you're watching this, Ralph, we're glad you're back.
100%.
Really glad.
We'd love to feature you on the channel as well. So if you do catch this, let this be the motivation. But
come on, Max too. Come on, Max.
But no, really cool family. Max does some amazing drone photography and other stuff.
Really talented.
But yeah, they opened back up. It's a beautiful place.
Space is spectacular.
No, they did an amazing job. Like the aesthetics are not aesthetics you find very frequently in Southern Andes, small town Ecuador.
And they brought some of the they brought some of the aspects that made the old version of Eden, charming. They brought, some of the wood aspects they had from the old restaurant, some of the glass that they incorporated into the new space as well. I thought was a nice touch. But just walking in, you walk in and it just feels different than most other restaurants.
It's great to see Ralph back in operation, feeling good. And it's awesome. So we ate there. You had been there before. They opened maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, Tiff and I went and had dinner there one night.
Today was the first day. I had been back, which was really nice.
Yeah, and it was interesting. The night we had dinner, I think it was a Friday night or a Saturday night. I think it was a Friday or Saturday night, and we were sitting out, and there were probably 5 or 6 other couples or groups that came in, and not a single gringo. It was all. I mean, I think they weren't folks I recognized from here. I think they were all Lojanos or from out of town. That were all, frequenting the restaurant. But it's
well, that was cool today. I mean, locals really appreciate, especially folks from the city, really appreciate sort of the international aesthetic that is not all that common here, although becoming more and more so. I mean, a restaurant like that, right? Which is it's nothing fancy. It's just like a normal place for back home, just well done.
Yep.
But a normal place well done back home is unusually amazing here, basically, right? There was, when I was in Loja, when I first got to Ecuador in 2013, in Loja, 250,000 person city, there was probably not more than 3, 4, 5 places in the whole city to that quality.
Really?
And then 5 years later, there was probably 100 or 50 or 100, and now there's probably now there's a lot. It's amazing how quickly that stuff has come.
Yeah, I like it that it's here.
Yeah. Well, it was cool when we were there too. When we were walking out, some folks from Loja, I'm sure they were dressed and talked like Lojanos.
Yep.
Were walking in and they were commenting,
right.
"Oh, it's so beautiful!
Yeah,
this is lovely! I love it! This is great!"
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, they had the balcony upstairs. It had some nice seating. There was seating overlooking the road. That's the old main road of Vilcabamba, from my understanding. Is that right? The cobblestone.
Yeah,
road?
I mean that's before my time, but I'm sure it is. It seems like it would have to be.
Right. That's where the wooden entrance, kind of leads, because that leads down there. That's where over in the San Francisco barrio. From there. Where I used to live, but I wish I was there while we still live there. I'd be living in Café Eden.
So we went up to Yasanga today, which it's interesting, right? Just all the different angles and options of places to live in and around the valley. It's kind of a little bit similar to where I grew up. I grew up in. For anyone out there that's ever heard of Putney, Vermont, close to Brattleboro, Vermont.
You look like Putney.
Now I do. I totally do. You've never been there, but you nailed that. Although I need a tie-dye shirt or something. But we'll get there. I mean, I need one of your sweaters, is what I need. Which I have. It's just not on right now. I'm a little embarrassed, but it's comfortable. What I saw? Oh, speaking of Marky Mark.
Do you feel those good vibrations?
No,
come on.
Was it Marky Mark? So was that Mark Wahlberg? It was Marky Mark, right? So he was at the Celtics game last night.
Okay.
Game 1 of the finals.
Did he park his car in Harvard Yard?
Most likely, very likely. But no, So where I grew up in Putney, Vermont, right? It's they call it the Green Mountain State. So it's like a mountainous, gentle mountains, not like these mountains, but but there's a lot of skiing in the state, and so. But it's similar where you're in the valley and it has a certain vibe and feel to it, which is where the town is, and then you drive up into the mountains and it cools off as you go up.
Like Yasanga,
exactly. Yeah. And so we were just up. We've hit sort of dry season here, although it's rained the last couple of days. Right. The weather's been wacky the last couple of years. Yeah, and it feels like the wind kind of hit early this year, and it got cool early this year as well. Usually we'll have some weeks during July or August where it's really windy, but we've gotten that already this year in June. The last week maybe it's been pretty windy.
10 days or so.
Yeah, and it's been a little cool the last few days, which we were laughing at ourselves at Eden today. What did I say to you? I was like, isn't it funny to be a Floridian or something? Because we were both. I think my comment to you was, it's freezing, and then you were like, oh my God, it's so cold or something. And it's probably 70 degrees. It's probably 68, a little breeze.
Yeah, it happens, man. Yeah, it took me a while. I didn't really acclimate to the climate right away, in the sense that I was cold. Like, I was always comfortable, but now it's like,
no, I've like watched you go through that transformation. Like a couple years ago, like you'd be in a t-shirt and I'd be in a sweatshirt, and now we're both in sweatshirts.
Yeah. Oh man. So Yasanga, man, that was. I mean, that's how many? What do you think? 2,000-3,000 feet higher? 2,000?
Let's see. The valley's 5,000. I think you're probably up over 6,000. Certainly.
Oh, just 1,000.
I don't really know.
I don't know.
You could be up like 6,500.
The views are nothing like this. They're immaculate. Like, this is a good view, but these were like epic. Like where you could just landscape views, and it just felt good. It was quiet. It was peaceful. Like
it's like a cleaner energy when you get away from town.
Yeah. It felt really good up there. Yeah.
But it's really different, right? Like if you go in Yamborada, you go towards Podocarpus, you get like a little bit more humid, a little bit more rain, more vegetation, more growth.
Right.
The river there has a different feel. That's like a totally different feel than if you go west out towards Kukanama, where you get like a little drier, a little more arid, less vegetation, less rain. You get totally different angles in terms of the views, whereas, and then Yasanga, right, that's like south basically of town. Now you're getting views, like you're up high, you're getting views into Podocarpus, you're getting way cooler temperatures, even though you're 10 minutes from town, but you're way cooler. It's interesting because it also dictates, like, do you get the morning sun? Do you get the late afternoon sun? What time is sunrise? What time is sunset? How windy is it?
Yeah.
All those things change a lot within the valley. Like there's probably like at least 4 or 5 like distinct microclimates just in this valley.
Well, just in Vilcabamba, I lived in San Joaquin for a year. I lived over in San Francisco for a year. Now I've lived here for 6 months or so. They're different just in those three when you consider. I mean, the temperature isn't dramatically different. In San Joaquin, it was a little different, more noticeable. But here, just again, the way the sun is, where the sun is, like the sun sets behind Mondango every day. So any of you sun gazers, man, like you have epic sun gazing. It sets right every night, and it looks different every night.
Yeah.
But we didn't have it in San Francisco. I didn't have that. I didn't have the same sun. It didn't come over the property the same way. It didn't have, that's 5 minutes from here. I mean, not even.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I think is, is like, it's interesting in terms of how each individual feels about it, but I think it's, in general, you're kind of one or the other, or you at least lean one way or the other, which is like set down, sort of a little bit protected by the river type of feel, or like up in the mountain, expansive, sort of feel. And those are like very different things. I'm like the river one, but it would be really cool to have a place in each, because it's like the feel and the energy is so different.
Dude, speaking of places, having a place. What was that? Pura Numa?
Pura Numa, yeah.
Pura Numa. Dude, that was Pura Numa?
It's Puru.
Pura Numa. Okay. Whatever, that place. That's out towards what direction?
So that's would be mostly west.
West.
Yeah, maybe to southwest, but then west. It's like the shortcut road. Here it's shortcut road to Gonzanama.
Yeah.
And actually, I was talking to an engineer the other day, because I was out working on the project in Chiquil on Tuesday, I think, and they're not paving the whole way. So we were talking about that. They're paving from Gonzanama to Porunum. But I don't think they've approved from Porunum through to Malacatos.
I hope you do.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, like, that was the first time I'd been in Porunuma or Gonzanama. They're awesome. P word.
The P words. But not that one.
Dude. It was like, when we were driving in, like the vegetation changed. There was all these pine trees. It almost looked like, I'd never been to Switzerland, but I imagined like Switzerland in the spring when there's no snow.
Right.
Just the mountains and there was like these little cabins in different places. And I'm like, wow. And it was nothing like this vegetation. It was nothing like these plants. And it had a different energy in the air.
Yeah.
And that was definitely cooler. But that's a place that I would like, man, get a little cabin up there, have a little rocket stove.
Absolutely.
Spend a couple of months up in Pura. That was a couple of months up in that.
I feel like there's a song coming.
Yeah. But it was, that was a nice.
I mean, that's the cool thing, right? About this country, but really the mountains in this country. Although even on the coast, I mean, there's that spot. I'm gonna deviate here slightly. There's that spot like where we stayed on the coast in Puerto Cayo when you're driving into Manta.
Yeah.
Which is like 45, 50 minute or whatever drive. You come, you're kind of like desert, and then you like go around that corner and like come up, and it's lush,
such in green,
like rainforest almost for only maybe 10 minutes of driving time, and then desert again.
Yeah, it's weird.
But in the mountains, the variety of everything, just in terms of the terrain and the climate and all those things, is remarkable. I mean, you're on that trip that we took, you're like, you're in Malacatos, which is the same climate essentially to Vilcabamba. You start going out west, all of a sudden you're in the desert for like 10 minutes. Then you go down, you hit a big river, you cross the bridge. Then you go up and you feel like you're in Southwest US, like you're in like Arizona, except there's huge mountains.
Right.
But you're also, if you stop and look out, like you're looking out into Podocarpus, rainbows, rain, that you can see, even though you're in a dry area, but you're looking at the rain out over the Green Mountains. If you look a little bit, just slightly further left, which would be, I guess, north, you're
It's ironic that you made a rainbow and a left reference in the same sentence.
Don't do it.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, the P word. You're looking out over, the mountains of Loja, right? Which are like 7,000 plus feet, lush green. But again, you're in like the Southwest US, like Red Rock country, basically. Then you keep going up into Porunuma. And, we stopped there on the way back and got out and like laid in the park and just took it in because it was so awesome. And it's like, it almost feels like the energy is still.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like
description. It was calm. Yeah. Still. It was calming. Yeah.
And it's, everyone, like, as slow as people move in this country at time, that's like third speed. That's like a third of the normal speed.
Right.
Yeah. Walk by like.
Oh, I was going to say that it is slow. That's the slowest place I've seen since I've.
Yeah. So like talk about old school and traditional and beautiful people and beautiful landscape and just beautiful smiles and animals everywhere. And just, yeah. And then, if you keep going, you come out, like you mentioned, in the Gonzanama, which is a beautiful area. It's a little bit similar to Yangana, except much more flat.
So Gonzanama, the city, I couldn't believe.
It's like picturesque.
Not the landscaping. They had like swirly, median, manicured bushes and shrubs, like that are like out of a Dr. Seuss book. I mean, seriously, the roads, like I don't know. You said it was about the same. You think it's the same size as Vilca?
I don't know. I mean, I think the town might be like, I know I don't want to interrupt you too much, but
Vilcabamba is way more populated
Yeah.
in terms of like the area.
All in your-
Yeah, but Gonzanama might be like a more compact town. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because compact might be the right word, but it's not the feel. Like, because
No, there's like no one there.
there's not is there no one there, but it's so clean. The roads are all wide. All the roads were paved in town. It was super clean, super fresh. There were all the shops, the tiendas. Everybody was smiling. Everybody. I mean, not that that's not the case here, but there was something like more pristine.
Totally.
It was super clean, super fresh. Like the roads again were like, it wasn't like a 1-lane road. It was 2-lane roads, everywhere paved roads you could park on both sides of the streets.
Yeah.
And it's still fine. The medians, I mean, there was no, I didn't see another gringo there. Like when you you stepped into a meeting and I took a walk around town by myself.
Yeah.
It was like
interesting.
I was like a circus attraction. There was like old ladies in the tiendas
taking pictures.
I'm walking by and all of a sudden I hear like a holler, and then I turn and look, and then and then she's telling her friend to come over and look. Well, kids coming up and like touching again, like a Zumba, and it's funny, like a lot of the younger kids I've noticed in Ecuador, in the younger generations, I guess the younger kids are
it's relative.
Same word. Yeah, or relative, but they think it's awesome to share English.
Yeah.
So like even Quinn's buddies, Jesus and Iker, we're hanging out with all the time now. They want to say, "Rendon, hello, hello." And a couple of kids in Guantanamo did that. They said, something, "Buenas tardes," or "Como le va," and they're like, "Hello." They're like so proud.
I mean, in Loja, like frequently you would get like the high school girls.
Yeah.
That would be like, "How are you?" And then giggle with each other, as you walk by.
Yeah, it was great. And it was a beautiful, beautiful town.
No, I mean, the people here are just so wonderful. It's like the biggest advice I have in the world for anyone that's going to come here is just,
take note,
is just, open your heart, be kind and be nice and connect with the people here. Because, is every person a wonderful guy or a wonderful human being? No. But is 8 or 9 out of 10 lean that way? Absolutely. And they're all a little bit reserved. So you have to like kind of go out of your way a little bit to like make a connection.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do, people are grateful for that. They want that. They will open like if you just relate to them on a human level, the culture here is one of sharing and kindness and opening your home and opening your heart and like being awesome with you. And if you want to slow down and connect with people and learn about them and learn about their life and how they live and just, just hang out and have fun and just sort of like do that normal kind of back and forth that might go on anywhere in the world. The difference here being people prioritize that. It's like people prioritize the connection. They prioritize the time spent with with humans, with friends, with family. They prioritize like relationships essentially.
Yeah.
So, if you can just take the time and do that and don't have the BS stories in your head, about what they might think of you or there's all that stuff, and you just can treat them as you treat the humans here as you want to be treated as a human.
Right.
It's like a lot of the way the culture is here, and again, it's not everybody, I'm generalizing, but like a lot of the way the culture is here, they have a lot of like secrets in terms of like how to live.
What?
They take it very slow. They take it easy. They don't get too stressed about anything. They put relationships. They put people first.
They stay active.
They stay active. They're kind. They take care of one another. They look out for each other. They help each other. There's real community and all that stuff. And it's like, that's stuff that people from our culture have lost to whatever degree each individual has. But like as a culture, to a decent degree, we've lost that, and we're all about, money and time and how quick and transactional. It was interesting today, right? Like we were up in Yasanga doing something, and the guy that was showing, taking us up there, the race car driver, which was funny as well. But I wasn't sure if I knew him or not, because he was talking to me via text message like he knew me. So I thought, okay, I must know him, and his face looked slightly familiar. So when we got out of the car, I asked him, I was like, hey, do we know each other from somewhere? And he kind of looked at me like, no. And then he's like, well, I work at Ishkailuma, and we're there a lot. We do host retreats there and other things. I was like, oh, we start talking. And as soon as he just saw that I'm happy to know him and I'm smiling, it's like, wow, it's just the whole thing just, woo, and it all flows, and he's showing us this and showing us that.
Hooking up hammocks for me to sing. I'm slipping in.
Right. And that's just, it's, there's no pretense. It's just totally genuine, and it's like, it's good.
People here, man, that's, if you have, again, if you're going to be here long term, you almost have to unwind. You're forced to, you're forced to go through that, when some of that can be frustrating. But if you do take the time to be here and put some time into those relationships, man, that's been some of the most rewarding experiences my family's had been being here.
Is just establishing those, and it wasn't like a switch that flips it. It was a long time to really get, invited over kind of thing into some of the Ecuadorian culture. At least for me, I didn't, maybe it's different for you. You married into it. Maybe that happened really fast. I'm not sure how fast or slow that happens, but it took a while. But then once it did, it's awesome. Just this past weekend, that same family. It's a huge family, It's there, and we're this past Saturday we're going to a first communion for Alexa and for Chino, and then we're invited over for the family party that night, and the kids are all having a blast in the road, and people are sharing cake, and the way they do this, at least in this family, they have everybody. So the two kids that made their confirmation, they stay dressed up in their tux and dress, and it's almost like a wedding dress, and they have the outside decorated, and they have chairs all out for all the family, and there's a big huge sheet cake on the table, and the kids walk around to all the people in the family, and they have plates, and there's chips, different types of hors d'oeuvres, snacks, chips. And they go around to each person, and they give them a napkin, and they let them take some of the chips, and then they do that a couple times for the first hour, and then they have a plate of candies, and each of the kids goes around and walks to each person and gives them candy, and you take candy, and then so that's the first hour where it's just kind of small talk between everybody, and then the kids do that, and then the mom of the children. She comes up and does a greeting, a formal greeting, welcoming everybody, and thank you for being here, blah, blah, blah. And, there's claps. And then all of a sudden, then they start serving dinner, and they cook it. There's 30 of us, and they're bringing it down plate by plate, a full meal. And they serve everybody a plate in their chair, and they give you a napkin and the utensils, and the kids do it, and the sisters, and then they bring you a horchata or whatever the drink was, and then they come around with bags, and they collect it all the kids, the confirmation kids, and then they do the same. Then we sing happy birthday, or we sing some song. It wasn't happy birthday, it was some song, and then they light the candles on the cake, and then they cut the cake, take pictures. Oh shoot, one of the best parts before they cut the cake, before the kids, because after the mom does the formal thing, then the kids go change, and they get out of their dress clothes, and then they're doing their whole duty in their regular clothes. But before they change, they're going up, and they're pointing, okay, I want you, and then you go up there and you stand up behind the cake with them in the decoration, and they want pictures. So it's everybody. So then it's okay, now I just want you and Quinn, and now I want your whole family, and now you go with this, and and they're just organizing the whole pictures. It was awesome, dude, and it and there was, again, no pretense,
Right.
no judgment, no whatever. I'm sitting there like my and clothes I always wear. Like it was not, I don't know. It was, I look forward. Like that's probably been one of the most rewarding things here is just having that experience, and then just sitting there listening to the kids just in Spanish, just having full on being kids, laughing their butts off, playing, and then the adults are okay with us with our broken Spanish and willing to use Translate and sitting there with us, and they're pulling their Translate and sitting up right next to us and laughing as I'm typing a word in, but like it was all good, like and then they're trying to speak English and I'm trying to speak Spanish, and it was awesome.
You're bringing flashbacks to those years I remember well. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like all of the hand sort of sign language,
right?
And
and then of course, because Bella knows the language, so she's there, like jumping in on their jokes, like encouraging them to make fun of me as catching everything that I screw up and putting a freaking spotlight on it.
Well, the great thing about you in those situations too is like, and it's partly
you're able to do this because the culture is so open and welcoming and non-judgmental.
But you just I used to say this about something totally different, but there's something funny about like, wrong and strong or strong and wrong, but like, it's a little out of context, but I mean, like, you're probably not going to say it right, but you'll jump right in and like say it, which is endearing, right? Like everybody appreciates that, just that you're relaxed and loose with it, which allows everyone else to be relaxed and loose and have a good time. And then you get that beautiful inner exchange of just humanity, right? Of just like humans having fun together. And it's hilarious when you can't really communicate that well. Like it's fun. Like it's I used to like, people used to ask me for advice with that. And that was always my advice. Just have fun with it.
Right.
Like just have fun.
It's great.
Because it's hilarious. Like you're going to be in all these awkward situations all the time, not knowing really what's going on, and not necessarily a social situation like you're talking about, but just in your everyday life, like not really knowing what's going on and trying to communicate, getting uptight about that and feeling uncomfortable is gonna suck.
Yeah.
So just have fun with it. Like laugh at yourself, laugh at the situation, like enjoy the fact that like there's some effort involved and there's some funny, awkward situations just trying to order dinner, or whatever it is you're doing. And if you have fun with it, they will also have fun with it. It's not like they're only going to like be uptight if you're uptight. Like if you're relaxed and laughing at yourself, like you were saying before, they have sort of an affinity in general. I'm generalizing, but in general, folks here kind of have an affinity for American culture and foreign culture and just getting to know other cultures, getting to know other people from other places, foreigners, doesn't matter where you're from. That's like, they're very interested in you. It's something where they want to not only get to know you and what you're about, but share with you what they're about and what their culture and like life is about here. So have fun with that, like enjoy it, and then you'll naturally just like integrate, like like you've done over the last few years. And
and then it opens up adventures, man. Then it's fun.
Yeah. So you got an adventure with your wife's probably getting stressed in there. It's probably time for you to go, but what adventure do you got going on tonight?
Yeah, so Bella in the
and Bella is my daughter is 15, so yours is 13.
13, good job.
So that's your 13-year-old daughter.
Yeah, she's 13, so she dances with the traditional folklorico dance.
Folklorico, is that a word?
Folklorico. Folklorico.
Oh, that's a Spanish word.
Aha!
Folklorico.
Folklorico.
You got me on that one.
Yeah, folklorico. Yeah, it's.
I thought you were saying like folklore and then adding folklorico in English, and I'm like, is that a word?
No. Yeah. If you stick around me long enough,
I might learn the language wrong.
No, it's the traditional folklorico dance group Nukanchi. So they were invited to perform at I don't know.
Somewhere
out
Kinara.
near Kinara,
Near
in
Kinara.
Kinara.
Palmira, does that ring a bell?
Nope.
Huayco?
I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is that somewhere near, might be Kinara Town. I don't know.
Yeah,
somewhere in
somewhere out there.
Kinara, and we are supposed to follow the bus there. The bus takes the girls and the boy. It's not just girls and boys. I mean, Bella's the youngest.
There's adults.
It's like 13 to. I think one of the coach or president is like in his 30s. That kind of does a lot of the choreography. But there's adults that perform as well. But they all ride a bus. It's kind of cool how they do it. They ride the bus together. They make their own costumes. They get together, so they practice multiple nights a week and on the weekends. And then they make their own costumes together. It's kind of like a little family. It's interesting.
And they perform all the time.
They perform all the time. Yeah, they perform. Like they just recently performed at the Carpio had them, the mayor of Vilcabamba, Victor Carpio, had them, asked them to perform at one of the celebrations for the 163rd anniversary of Vilcabamba. So they just did that in Town Square recently. They performed. It's like something there's all the novenas and all the different barrios right now. So they're performing all at a lot of those. They were at Los Wilcos a little bit ago. They performed in Loja. They perform all over the place. But this is something in Kinara. I don't quite know what, but we're following the bus at 7.
And Kinara is like, it's under 20 minutes away. It's a tiny little agricultural town, mostly sugarcane, almost the whole valley is sugarcane. Yeah. Everybody grows food, sort of definitely like a rural, traditional-ish, or traditional, rural sort of agricultural town in the Andes Mountains.
Yeah. And it's cool because like when we first, Quinn plays soccer and we go see him play soccer and support that. And this is kind of what Bella does. And we were just going through old photos. We've got this digital photo album that we got from Tip's grandma. We would you can upload pictures here, and then they would just come up on her digital photo album. When she passed, we took the photo album, and so we were watching and we saw some photos when we first came to Ecuador 3 years ago. And there was videos as well. And there was a video of us sitting at the church, and it was me filming the New Concha dance group, thinking how awesome that was. Yeah. And 3 years later, Bella's a gringo in it, doing it, And
she's been doing it, 6 months or something?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure. But she's been, awesome. She was the first, her and Kodo Kodo's the first boy. She was the first girl. They joined.
Is he still doing it?
No. Still doing it?
Is
yeah. Interesting. It's pretty cool. Now there's a couple other gringo kids that are starting. But,
you guys trailblazed.
Yeah, it's just cool to see. Like I remember watching it for the first time. I'm like, wow, this is so authentic. This is so cool. And then 3 years later, my daughter's like in it, like passionate.
Well, she might be in the horse show next year, huh?
She might be. Yeah. Francisco said he wants her to ride Patricia, the Pasofino, in the horse show next year in the Paso Champ Count, whatever.
That might even I'd say that probably would get me to go.
Yeah. It was good. I'm gonna do video, guys. There's what is it called? A horse show, a caballeria? Not caballeria. There's a horse show where they ride the Peruvian pasos. I got some great footage. We got invited from one of the horse trainers in town. I actually got a personally addressed invitation. I got to sit under we actually screwed up and didn't sit in the right space. We didn't know we were supposed to sit under the tarp.
Yeah. And
there was like a reserve seating for those who had special invites. And the mayor, I was supposed to sit next to the mayor. We sat on the other side of the bleachers when we first got there, which were the people that didn't even have tickets. Those were like for the third class. I didn't even know. And then we're over talking to Wilson. He's like, dude, I gave you the invite was for you to sit over there. So then Tiff and I sat over there and talked to Victor, and I got that experience. But it was awesome. It was awesome to see. Like, these are legit cowboys. Like Renee and Wilson, these guys, Juan Ramon, these guys are legit Ecuadorian cowboys. Like jumping on a wild horse, bareback, and taming that. Like it's crazy to see. Yeah. But Bella was asked by Francisco Ivanco to ride Patricia next year, so we'll see.
So
We'll see.
so Renee, Renee and Wilson are two guys that rent horses in town, and they take people on tours and up into the mountains and up to waterfalls and things like that.
When we have the retreat.
When we have the retreat, we do that with Renee.
Well, they use both. They
both.
work together. Yeah, we have a big group. They work together on those.
And so Renee is our neighbor, but next to the office. He's on the corner. Wilson is around the corner, like a block and a half away. And when the samurai came through town, the event started on Renee's corner and ended in front of Wilson's house.
And speaking of the samurai, he was at the horse show.
Yeah.
He came in on horseback. I saw him ride over, sword and all, full camo. Didn't talk to anybody, just kept riding back around the whole park, watching, staying on his horse, get off, walked around, jump back on his horse.
Did he have the armor on?
Dude, he had the full thing. I wanted to. I've never met him actually, so I didn't want. I kind of wanted to just go talk to him.
No,
but,
he's you can talk to him. Like you can talk.
Yeah, so maybe if I see him again, I'll break the ice, interview the samurai.
All right. Well, I don't want to get you in any more trouble than I already have.
Yeah, you already
with your
have.
lovely wife. So we're gonna call it a evening, not a day.
It is. I don't know if you can even see us.
They may not be able to see us. Probably cannot. But we did it. That's how dedicated we are.
We did. Yeah, and if you guys like this stuff and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. If there are things you're interested in about Southern Ecuador or questions you have for us, put them in the comments below. Send us an email to info@abecuador.com, and we're happy to answer any questions you guys have. We really appreciate the support and the engagement in the comments. We hope to see you down here one day.
Until then,
see you next time.
Take care, guys.
Ciao, guys.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel right here. Check out our real estate channel right here for content that you will absolutely love. Click right here. And if you want to know how we got here, click here.